Thanks for tuning in to Brewnomics at the Lounge interview series, or whatever the heck we decide we're going to call this. I'm Jerry.
I'm Vic.
And we have a special guest from Boise Brewing, Josh.
Welcome. Hi. Thank you for having me here tonight.
You are very welcome. We appreciate it. You're actually, besides the lounge people, I think, our first official beer interview on this lounge series.
Well, very honored.
So, yeah,
thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
So if you guys have been following along, we're doing this mostly to profile local beer places and businesses during these quarantines because it's definitely needed. And we reached out to Boise Brewing, and they seemed pretty cool. So I guess let's get to it, huh?
Right on. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we have some mystery beer we're going to drink here. But it's from Boise Brewing, so I'm sure it's going to be good. Let's sip it and see if we can guess what it is. Oh, that's the blonde, I think. Wait.
What?
I want to hear it. We had to fill all of our 200,000 of our viewers in. We had canning day the other day, and as a brewery, when you have cans, the beers that don't quite fill all the way up, the low fills, or if the cans are damaged or the labels don't go on right or correctly, then you get mystery beers. So went to the cooler today, pulled a few out, and here we are.
It's definitely the hip check. It's got that nice hoppy IPA bitterness to it.
Little citrusy notes on it. Yeah.
Nailed it. Yep.
But this is a good one. I like the hip check a lot. It's a nice one that you can always look forward to picking up at your local grocer.
It's our #1 selling beer, and it has been, I think, since day one.
Really?
Yep. Both draft and cans. Yeah.
Wow.
For good reason. Excellent. Yeah. All right. Well, while we're drinking this first, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do for Boise Brewing?
So I do marketing and graphic design. I've been with Boise Brewing for a little over 2 years now. I have, interestingly enough, almost zero background in marketing and graphic design, which is always something fun. Do you guys want me to talk to you or the camera, or how we?
However you feel
okay,
comfortable.
I prefer to talk to people. I'm a people person. Okay, so for all you viewers out there, just pretend like I'm sitting across from you. So I do marketing, graphic design. Like I said, a little over 2 years. I did a very small amount in college with, as it pertained to, like me being in club sports and other club things. But other than that, it was just kind of like just a hobby. I left University of Utah, go Utes, to pursue my passion for craft beer. So I was in medical field doing a bunch of stuff, clinical research trials and all sorts of crap. And as important and as valuable as it was not for me. So I always enjoyed the moments where I could sit around with some friends and enjoy craft beer, and those seemed to give me the most joy. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to explore that while I'm young. Took off, went around Northwest, was in Portland and Seattle for a little bit, trying to get gigs, living off of my whatever little money I had left out of the car, and ended up in Boise. I am from Boise, and I ended up back in Boise because it turns out it's really hard to get a job in craft beer. So ended up back in Boise, doing the exact same thing, though, searching for that gig, and I found it with Boise Brewing.
That's awesome. So you kind of went on like a walkabout or a beer exploration journey there.
Yeah, it was totally like like El Camino for me, but in my car, you know.
Awesome.
Was your car in El Camino?
No, it was.
Man, that's super cool. So interesting. What was probably one of the most memorable moments from your journey then? Was there anything in particular that stands out to you?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I got one gig, and it was a Craigslist at a brewery that I honestly forgot the name of, Urban something or other in Seattle. I mean, it was Seattle, so there were like
a dime a dozen there.
It was literally like I was living with my brother at the time. I would wake up, I would apply for about 10 different brewery jobs, no matter the job, and then I would go out. I would take my bike and bike to all the 10 jobs I had applied to the day or two before, and then I would come back, and I would have a beer, and then I would go back. And I finished the Game of Thrones, all the seasons. I hadn't watched it before, so that was also part of it. But yeah, so it was at this brewery, Craigslist. They said, we'll give you like $80 or something if you just are on our bottling line for a day. And I was like, great, here's my in. Went out. It was a blast. I was on my feet for like 10 hours. And It didn't end up going anywhere, but I got $80, and it was a really cool experience to see, kind of like chat with all the people that were there, and it was like 7 people worked there.
Wow.
So it was a really cool experience. Yeah.
That would be pretty fun. So I always have to ask this question, just 'cause said you like sitting around with your buddies drinking craft beer, as do we. Is there a craft beer you remember drinking that made you go, I'm gonna drink some more of this shit? Like the first beer that made you realize beer's delicious.
Yeah.
Your first beer.
My first beer. Oh, that's
Because I remember I used to like Rolling Rock.
yeah.
Do they even fucking make that anymore?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
That's
Unfortunately, I know
terrible.
that they
A
do.
lot of memories.
No, oh shoot. So I was in Salt Lake, University of Utah, and I would argue that the first craft beer that I was really like, okay, I can do this, was Uinta Wild.
Ooh, yeah.
Is that how you pronounce
Extra
I've always
pale ale.
wondered how
Yeah.
it's pronounced.
Uinta.
Uinta.
It's the name of the mountain range
Okay.
there. Yep.
Okay.
Uinta.
I believe that. You were a Ute.
Yep.
That is in Utah.
That was my guess. I was like, Uinta? Uinta?
Yeah.
Uinta?
That's
it's-
my Uinta.
Take anything that's Utah name, like just spell it exact. Like if you were just to be like, man, this is just super basic. That's exactly.
Keep it phonetic.
Inta. Yeah.
There
It's
we
the
go.
most phonetic thing on the planet.
I love it. Easy enough.
Cool.
Well, now let's tell us a little bit, if you don't mind, since this is profiling Boise Brewing, a little bit about Boise Brewing, the history, and I know on just about everything you have a lot of the swag, community-supported beer.
Yes.
Specifically.
Yes. So in our notes here it says history of bogus brewing.
I didn't write
I
these
mean
notes.
Boise Brewing, which is totally correct and very interesting story in and of
Okay,
itself. Yeah. So I did join the team about 2 years ago, but we've been around for doors opened in 2014, so of June. So almost 6 years now. So the company itself, 6 years since the doors have been open. It started out as Bogus Brewing. It was legitimately called Bogus Brewing. Bit of a fuss from the Bogus folks.
Basin.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, they threw it up.
So I don't know why. I was in Salt Lake at the time. I don't know the specifics. Colin, our owner, has a little bit of a sensitive spot when we get into it, but I love the name. At the end of the day, from my perspective as the marketing guy, Boise Brewing was 100 times better, just because anytime you Google search Boise and brewery, ours pops up.
There you go.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
So
And
that's
One of the most
engine
important
yeah.
things in business right now is who
Yeah.
pops up first on
Yeah,
Google.
exactly.
SEO, search engine optimization.
He made the most important mistake of his life the day that he was like, I don't want to fight this lawsuit. So by changing it to Boise Brewing, he's like, we'll just do it.
It's a blessing after all, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, big blessing. But he and I actually invited Colin to be on tonight. He has 2 young twin kids, and unfortunately, after hours podcasts and ripping beers is
Trying to be a dad or whatever.
yeah, exactly, is reserved for weekends.
Yeah.
He still is down to hang, but
Hey, you don't want to get drunk on a Monday evening, bro? Come on.
well, he would.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. He's had plans to go to the grocery store for about a week now, so you can't miss those.
Gotta do it.
Well, I
yeah.
can imagine, especially with twins,
Yeah.
because I'm a twin, and I don't wish that on anybody.
Exactly. So anyway, so Colin would be here, but here's the story. He started it out. He's a phenomenal person. He's all about community, all about local support. Everything is let's keep Boise and what it is. He member of the co-op. He would always go in and say, hey, why can't I can get all these cool things at the co-op and get groceries. I pay my membership. Why can't I do that with beer? And that was kind of what spurred the idea. He's like, well, what if we set up a program or a brewery where people would buy in for whatever amount, and then everybody was an owner, everybody made decisions, everybody kind of had a piece of the pie or a say and everything. And that's kind of what spawned the idea. And then he got in with our head brewer, Lance Chavez, who's one of the best brewers in Idaho, hands down. He was working at Sockeye at the time and as one of the assistants, and he's like, hey, let's go in, let's do this. And he's like, hell yeah, I'll brew for you, and Colin's like, I'll sell your beer, and here we are. You know what I mean? It's awesome.
That's rad.
Yeah, and that's what community-supported beer is. So we're owned by, and so I guess I'll just throw my first plug right now. We are actually technically in the middle of a public offering. So we are owned by over 470 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What's the kind of the buy-in for that one then?
Yeah, exactly. So it's literally we're sharing stocks, or we're selling stocks. So you have, it's $1,000 minimum investment. Each share is, I think, around like $250. So you're purchasing shares in the company, and you get to own the brewery. So you get, not only do you get that, you get voting rights and all that stuff. It's cool. We did the calculations. You get a free growler fill every month, and for the rest of time and eternity. Right? Well, as long as you're alive, I guess. So maybe drink slow. But but yeah, you get a free growler. Yeah, we host quarterly events. We host, we have shareholder meetings where everybody comes to the brewery. You get a beer. One of the coolest things, you get a mug, your own mug on the wall, and every time you come in, you pay the price for the beer, but it's filled up in your mug. So we did a measurement. As an employee, I get a mug. My mug is 22 ounces, which is a lot. So it's like, I could go in and get our Black Cliff's most award-winning beer, which is a American-style stout, 8.5 or 8% or whatever.
Been featured on the podcast. Great beer.
There you go.
Great beer.
And I can pay for 12 ounces at, I don't know the prices exactly, but for 12 ounces at like $6-7,
Sure.
I can pay the exact same and get 22 ounces.
You get 22 ounces, yeah.
So we did the math. After like 2.5 years, just the $1,000 alone pays for itself.
Nice.
If you're drinking.
Wow. That's super cool. So $1,000 gets you that. How do you go about purchasing it? This is not on the NASDAQ or the
Not yet.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Not yet. No, it's just all online.
That's cool, man. Okay.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
neat.
With the whole COVID-19 thing, it's really weird timing. Everything's just kind of weird, but everything's online. Everything's available still. I know people all got their stimulus checks, or at least most people did.
Straight
They'll
up.
still have $200.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you'll be a business owner.
God,
Exactly.
I wish I knew about that 2 weeks ago. Damn.
Well, the kicker too is, is 6 years in, we're still technically kind of considered a startup, and once we do turn profits, you get dividends. Like you get, if the case, I legally can't say you get money from doing this, but that is that is something that could happen.
Nice. Very cool.
It's important to have goals. So I guess one of the follow-up questions Will had to that, hi Will, was, has anything changed in the original vision and direction of where those funds will be directed as a result of the market shift with the pandemic?
With the pandemic, no. But as craft beer starts to get bigger, you're seeing more trends in that money is made in tap rooms. So unless you have a massive canning, bottling, whatever facility, you're not that's a volume play at that point. So all your money, especially with us as being like a local brewery, it's really difficult to It's really difficult to get any sort of margin from large. Oh man, thank you. Wow. Yeah, unless you're doing a really large canning or bottling or off premise, I guess, then you're not gonna make money. But tap room is kind of the go-to. So our goal is, with this offering, open up a second location around town.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Or anywhere in Idaho. So
Sure.
if somebody up north, if people in East Idaho want a Boise Brewing out there, you're absolutely entitled
Eastern
to that,
Idaho
for sure.
is finally starting to get a bit of a beer scene.
Yes.
It took a while,
Yes.
but it's finally starting to get there, so maybe. So we just got another beer.
Yeah,
This
it's-
is
The-
what are we drinking?
Tastes like the Better Hazy.
There you
Better
go.
Hazy,
Look
yeah.
at that. It's almost like this guy works for the company.
Better hazy than ever, yeah.
Tell us about this beer.
This beer is great. This is a really funny. So the name, it tells actually a lot of the story. It is we were kind of holding out on the whole hazy IPA, New England style IPA trend.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
If you've ever listened to our show, I talk so much shit on hazy.
Well, we all do, man. It's a very overproduced beer right now.
Yeah.
But when done right, it's a damn good beer.
Also true.
Totally agree. And I was in the same boat. I was like, and the brewery was too. That's where the whole better hazy than never. It's kind of like a play on, obviously, better late than never. But we were just like, why does your beer have to be hazy to taste great? So we're like, but then literally just having hazy in the name of a beer sold the beer. So
you know it did.
Yeah,
you know it did.
So we're like, all right, Lance is like, all right, I'll do one, and he cranks one out, and he's like, and we're just like, God damn, Lance, this is one of the best beers we've ever had, and he's like, I know, better hazy than ever, and we're like, yep, and the numbers show it. So this is our number 2 beer, and this is our one of our newest, and we moved it from a so community supported beer. Back to the whole CSB idea is when we first started, he would brew a different beer every month, and we would have a different local artist design all sorts of posters and stuff, and that just got to be way too much because
I imagine so.
Yeah.
And that is kind of something I think we noticed before, and it's awesome and it's fun to do that, but that seems exhausting.
Intense.
Logistically, artistically, creatively, everything.
So you kind of talked about one point. Sorry to break this a little bit, but I was curious about who does the artwork on there. So you said multiple people do the artwork. Is that true?
So that's how it used to be for sure. So when we first started out, it was really cool. And if you go into the brewery, highly suggest when it's open. Yeah, COVID-19.
We'll get there.
Obama.
Hopefully.
No, I'm just kidding. When you go into the brewery, one of the first things you see is all the posters on the wall. Those are that's the original concept of community supported beer. It just caused so much stress on our brew floor and our logistics and everything like that. I came in and we kind of stopped doing it when I first started. And
I guess I like this beer. It's already gone.
Yeah. That's impressive. Well, they're available in 6-packs at Albertsons, Winco,
Fred Meyer's.
Costco, take note. No, but we started out, and it was really cool. And when I first started, I was doing it, and we had a double IPA that was pretty solid. That we had one of my friends, and then I was like, man, this logistically does not make sense. And we brought it up. We talked about it for quite a while. And Lance was like, "Yeah, it's impossible to do a new beer a month and try and grow and try and do all the stuff we're trying to do." And I was like, "Well, let's pump the brakes. Let's revisit how we do this." So now our community supported beer program is, instead of having new artists come in and do everything, what we actually do is we do 5-ish beers a year, kind of depending on how it sells, how quickly or not it sells. Lance gets to do whatever he wants. And then at the tap room, $1 or a portion, I think it's around $1, a portion of every beer poured from that tap handle goes to a local nonprofit. So we have 12 nonprofit organizations throughout the city, and a portion of that, and we're averaging like $300 donations per month, which is pretty cool. Up to, we felt like our biggest one was like $650, so that's kind of
wow.
Very
That's awesome.
respectable numbers. Very respectable
and
numbers.
it's just cash. It just goes straight to whoever. So
Awesome.
It was all right to get to the art portion of it. We had all the design stuff. That was super cool, but it's almost impossible to ask someone, hey, like, because you think about it, you're coordinating, hey, this is the style of the beer and the name. That goes to me. I go, hey, can anyone give me something here? And then artists have to be like, yeah, here's that. And I'll be like, oh, this is acceptable, or this is like, because if you look there, I mean, there's nothing that's like bad, but it's like we there's a brand, right? And that's kind of what my point was coming in from a marketing side, is like, if you go to a grocery store and you see that beer label, you're like, what is this? We still have to sell it.
Absolutely.
So it's a fine line between,
It's like, labels to me seem to be one of the most important thing in the beer industry. And I've said this a lot. It's like, don't judge a book by its cover, but I will buy a beer based off its label.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things I was like, this is like, that's how I think too, right? You go to a grocery store and it's like, man, I really like IPAs, which every basic bro does. So it's like,
I love that you said that so hard right now.
I mean,
I get attacked on my own podcast.
I mean, I love IPAs. That's kind of my jam. Like, I get it.
They're good.
I like all styles, but that's if I'm gonna go to it, I like to experience the hop profiles and they're like IPA is like is the everything beer. So it's like, what do you do? But you go and you go to the stores like, man, okay, I like IPAs. And now it's like, all right, sweet. That narrowed it down from 200 beers in the craft beer aisle to
175.
to 175. And then you're like, okay, cool. Is it local? And you're like, okay, so now we're 175 to 125.
That was like 162.
Yeah, exactly. So then after that, it's price range, and then everyone's competing for the exact same price range, the same SKU. So it's like, okay, you maybe have a couple of IPAs that are like, ooh, no, I'm not going to pay for that revision, whatever. Double.
That's something that's always fascinated me is pricing in beer with craft beer, because how do you determine that? Because that's like, I don't know. Because there are a lot of beer that obviously is way overpriced for what it is, and then I've had a lot of beer that comparatively seems grossly underpriced.
Well, so I mean, it's like any product. It's like we can go in and say, hey, we know exactly what our cost is and cost with cans and packages, obviously way more, because now we're paying for 4 other people to come in, all their equipment, because we don't have our own canning line, so we're paying for someone to come in, paying for their time and labor, and then we're paying for the aluminum, all that crap. So you measure all that and you're saying, okay, how much margin do I want? And you kind of pick a number and then it's based on the beer too, right? So if I have a super fancy ass like double, triple IPA, I'm gonna price it a little higher, just because that's like, there's a lot of time. There's more like
the ingredients are more expensive.
The hops are way more expensive than people realize, and you're putting more into that. And then, but on the flip side, it's like we've got beer that's super light, and we're trying to make it, we're trying to set a price point to where it's reasonable, and we want people to get it. Like our Boise Light, phenomenal light beer, brewed here locally, and boy, everything's done at our own facility. And our keg price, this is kind of funny, is a penny cheaper than a Bud Light half barrel.
Really?
So you can get a keg of craft light beer for $117.99.
You heard it here first, folks. Craft beer at a much cheaper price.
Excuse me real quick, guys. Beer witch! Can we get a beer, please?
No.
That's awesome. That's great. Was that
So,
on
yeah.
purpose, or did that
Absolutely,
just happen that
yeah.
way?
So we made the recipe, we designed the process, and we did everything, because it's like we want people drinking, at the end of the day, craft beer. Like we want, we want people drinking craft beer.
100, man. I'm
Nobody
with
should
ya.
drink Bud Light.
Exactly.
Should have to be that choice.
Should have to.
Exactly.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
it's price point for everybody. Sure. So I'll drink a cheap beer from time to time. I'm not a snob. Like, I get it. There's a time and a place, but if I can make that time and a place craft 24/7, then I'm going to make that time and that place craft.
Oh, 100%. And that's a great philosophy to have.
And
I really appreciate that.
And that's why beer pricing sometimes baffles me, because I think you can get a great 6-pack of just about any craft beer for $10.
Oh, yeah.
That's the same it costs for a 6-pack of Heineken or Corona.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you drinking that when you can drink so much better?
Oh, yeah. It's out there. It's really, you just got to seek it. You got to go for it. You got to try it. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's super fantastic. All right, so we've got another beer poured for us by our amazing wait staff here.
Thank you, Paula.
PK, you're the best.
What are we drinking, Paula?
This is the can is kind of like taking it off, but it's a wheat beer. A wheat.
Yeah, the Sharpie kind of gave out towards the end of it.
It's all right. We appreciate that we have it. So can you fill us in a little bit on what this might be?
Yeah, so this is our Prairie Days.
left out.
Oh, what was that?
I said fill in what the Sharpie left out.
Oh yeah. So the beer. No, it's wheat
That's
beer.
weird.
It's French for wheat. Yeah, so this is Prairie Days American Wheat. This is a community-supported beer. This is one of them, our most recent one, it's the whole COVID-19 situation has been really difficult to schedule a bottling. So it's not in bottles yet. The plan is to put it in them. Labels are designed and ordered and ready to go, and bottles I think are ready as well. Yeah, it's a nightmare. Everything's a nightmare with this. So, American wheat, so it's not going to be as weedy as your European or like old world style, but it's American. It's super light. You get a light, like grainy, weedy characteristic towards the end. You've got like a nice weedy haze, but it's it's made to be drank with how you like it, like right now, super light, crushable. I think it's 4.8 alcohol percentage, and then but you can add fruit to it if you want it. That's kind of like the idea is to like.
You want to throw in a slice of lemon or lemon, not lemon. That'd
I was
be
like,
weird.
lemon? Orange?
Yeah. Orange is kind of the common, but
Fuck, I
you
can see
can
a
literally do
lemon,
anything. A
actually.
lemon actually might be
I
pretty
can do
good.
a
Yeah,
lemon.
Lemon might not be bad. Yeah, you might
little
be on something.
acidity kind of cuts the grain.
I think what I thought I said was lime. I'm still so hungover right now.
That's fair. I get it.
So are we getting like early access to this?
You're not getting early
like it's
access,
been at
but
the
it's
brewery.
it's been at the brewery. It's not in bottles yet. It's on draft.
So you can get one with a growler
You can get
if
a
you
growler
want.
or a crowler. We
Or
do
a
the canned
crowler.
steamers. Yep.
Noise.
So you can totally get it. It's just we haven't pushed it to grocery stores yet.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
Cool. So you have to go to the brewery for that one. It's a hard word for me to say.
Brewery.
What's your
Rural
favorite
brewery.
Boise Brewing beer and your favorite other beer that's not from Boise Brewing?
So favorite Boise Brewing beer that I've had. So they obviously I come in and I see all the old beers and there are a ton I'd love to try and all that. But one that I've had is it is the Better Hazy. It's got to be the Better Hazy. Yeah, the one that you sucked down just recently.
I did.
Yeah.
I slammed that bitch. That's true. Mr. Hazy hater.
Yeah.
Just like gulp.
Well, it's it's got a good haze. It's got a good mouthfeel, really juicy, and it's a perfect summer beer. Like I said, I'm kind of a basic bro when it comes to drinking those IPAs, and
Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it.
yeah, and you got to balance it out too. Like I'll go in and slam kind of the super hoppy beers, but at some point you're gonna ruin your palate, so you gotta switch over, and you gotta change things up. And Better Hazy is perfect for just kind of like keeping it has low bitterness, so it kind of like doesn't ruin the tongue.
Super smooth. Yeah.
Super smooth, gives you those nice like juicy characteristics without like totally just punching you right in the face repeatedly. So it's a good beer.
That is true. It does just kind of cleanse the palate on its way down,
Yeah.
which is a nice thing about hazies, and I think why they're so popular is they tend to do that you don't get that hoppy bitterness. They're kind of like a gateway IPA.
Totally.
Really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I also love the Hip Check too, which is our mystery beer here because it is like, and that's why it's the number one seller is because 6 years ago when like the classic Northwest style like piney citrus IPA was, it's like it exemplifies.
I still think that's my favorite beer style on earth
Mhm.
Yeah.
because I am that basic bro.
Yeah.
When it comes to beer like that, like I'll drink pretty much all beer, but there's a reason, 175 year 200 beers are IPAs. At
Yeah.
the beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like tasting the mouthful of the forest, man. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. It's refreshing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
Well,
go ahead.
favorite non-Boise Brewing beer, and I'll quickly do a plug here. The Anchorage Brewing Company is just, I strive to like, I homebrew a little bit, but if I could make anything like they make, then yeah. I mean, same thing with Boise Brewing. Don't get me wrong, but all their stuff is wood aged or soured, or so they have. And this is gonna sound bad because I'm in the industry, but they have the big fermenters that are all just wood. I don't know what you would call that, but we're working with steel on this at this point, and they like all their ferment. You walk in. So my sister lived in Anchorage for a while. When I visited her, we popped around some breweries. And this place is like you go in and it's just a 60 barrel of just wood fermenter. So everything clings and everything hangs, and it's just so beautiful. Everything is perfectly done. But the best beer I've ever had was the Bitter Monk. It's a double IPA, like a double IPA wit. Let's see. No, Belgian double IPA with Brettanomyces. That's what it is.
Ooh,
So it's a Belgian double IPA Brettanomyces, and it was Mosaic hops. So they do different series with the hops, and it's called a Bitter Monk, and
That sounds intense.
it was the best beer I've ever had in my life.
God, that does sound intense. I want it.
Yeah. I think Brewers Haven carries some Anchorage Brew Co., and you might be able to special order some stuff to them.
Ooh, you heard it here, folks. Check out your Brewers
Definitely
Haven.
seeing Anchorage there. I haven't tried to special order anything though.
Me neither.
Check out Anchorage Brewing Company. They do some of the best work I've ever had.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well,
Rad.
I feel like it's like too much a competition considering they're in Alaska.
Alaska.
Cool. We're gonna do a few plugs real quick because we are having a beer brought up to us. Our next one is gonna be the Bike Route Stout. So here at the lounge, remember if you guys want, go to loungeboise.com. You can order growlers on their website. They have a whole bunch of growlers out, and they will even do like delivery and pick up and exchange growlers and shit. It's pretty cool. Website loungeboise.com. And the Bike Route Stout that they're doing is the one we're about to feature. Is they're going to do a $15 growler here at the lounge because they have it on tap. So come on in, make sure, or go online and make sure you get that Bike Route Stout $15 growler fill specials while supplies last.
While supplies last.
There we go. That's the Bike Route
Last.
Stout there. Sorry, folks. I'm in the background here.
No, you're golden. Yeah, we get it. There's a lot to work out here.
So, yeah, that's getting poured for us currently. I guess we'll finish some plugs here. This is going to be featured when you see it. When are we putting this up?
I believe Wednesday,
Is this live?
Thursday.
When the hangover is gone and the editing
Yeah,
begins.
if that's possible.
But whenever you do it, remember the cool thing about the lounge, they're all about community support too. So whenever they have a stream, you can actually purchase virtual tickets. 80% goes to the artist and 20% goes to the tech crew. It doesn't matter if it's our show or not if you do that. There are a lot of people that really helps though. So
Straight up.
make sure you do that and check out their Patreon, patreon.com/BagelTiger.
Bagel Tiger.
Please do. The lounge is awesome.
They are.
We like to come up here too. They
No,
buy our
abs-
beer and they know what good beer tastes like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They know what life's about,
They know what life's about.
especially at
Good
the end of the
beer, good
universe.
shows. Been here multiple occasions. Freaking love it every time.
Stand-up comedy for those of you who love it. I love stand-up.
Ooh. I like sit down personally, but
God damn it. God damn it. I was
He's good.
God damn it. Beat me.
yeah. So my next show is.
All right. What do you know about the Bike Route Stout, Josh?
Bike Route Stout. So this is kind of a cool beer. There's an oatmeal stout that we brewed again, our head brewer Lance. I can't speak highly enough of him. He is he knows hops and he knows big beer, and that those are the two things he does. Better than I think anyone else. And this is a big beer. It's an oatmeal stout. He pretty much nailed it. The first competition he entered it into NABA, he got a gold for it for oatmeal stout.
It smells fantastic.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just get these chocolately, rich, malty notes
Oh,
off the
yeah.
nose.
Just want to drink this for breakfast.
Oh yeah, you absolutely can. That's the whole point. So it's funny because the label that was for it
It's gold.
was it's in the so we do the sell sheets, we do the labels and all that. It's kind of the whole point behind this is you drink your coffee at breakfast. You at whatever point in life you transition immediately to this. So after your first cup, if it means beer at 9:30, then this is what you do. If it means you're drinking coffee till noon and then you transition, good for you.
Time's relative, man. Doesn't matter.
Exactly, yeah. So this beer is amazing, roasty, chocolatey, smooth finish, awesome, great foam retention, really rich yellow, dark color with the body. It's a great beer.
What's our ABV on this? 11.1? 10.1.
10.1.
It's in that ballpark, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
We're having a good time.
Ooh,
tonight.
you're having
I'm having a great time. Yeah.
This is my afternoon coffee, just so you know.
I like that we went from a 4.8 to a 10.
10.1.
Awesome.
It seems like there's a lot of bike-themed beers through Boise Brewing.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if I'd say a lot, but a few.
No,
Handful.
you're
'Cause
totally
there's, like,
right.
the Mustache Ride.
Oh, that's a really kind of a fun name. I
Yeah,
like that.
that's an older one.
Good old double entendre there. Yeah.
But what's up with that?
Ooh wee.
Yeah, so we were talking about who designed the labels earlier. It was a bunch of people, and then I kind of took over. And don't get me wrong, pardon my French, I was pretty dog shit at like designing stuff when I first started. But then things started kind of clicking, and I was on YouTube 24/7, and I give so much praise and thanks to Colin for letting me kind of pursue it. But I knew in my head we had to have a consistent theme, and it was easier for us to just pay someone who was already hired to design stuff. So then I just kind of started doing it because I loved it. I really did love it, but like I said, I was pretty dog shit when I first started. So
A little bit of a learning curve. Yeah.
oh yeah, for sure, it was a big learning curve.
It's amazing how I love it because when we start things we've never done before, tend to be dog shit at it, for lack of a better word. But clearly, you worked at it, you busted your ass, and it shows, man. So that's a testament to where if you are frustrated at something because you're not good at it at first, I can stick with it,
do it.
practice, work hard.
Totally.
It's amazing how much better you'll be.
Well, and like I said, I'm just so happy that Colin was on board with the idea, because we had a company that was was willing to design, but again, it was, we're creating beers at this speed, and you think about it, it's like, hey, we need a label for this beer, and then they need a week lead time to do whatever, and it was just about efficiency, right? So I kind of knew everything that was going on, and I was like, hey, Colin, would love to learn more about design and an art and stuff. And he's like, absolutely. He's like, go for it. Like, we're a community supported brewery. Like, that's what we do. If you have something you love, go do it. So
It's awesome support to hear, especially from your boss, dude.
Totally.
That's rad.
Yeah.
Right on.
And it means a lot for someone. Like, I would never have been doing in this position right now had I not had this job. I would never have been like, I'm just going to learn how to do Photoshop, because I would never pay for Photoshop because
It's
that's
expensive.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So he had everything available, and I was like, yes, I'm going to get artsy for a minute. So the bike theme comes into, I ride my bike everywhere, rode my bike here. I just love cycling, and it's the label on the Bike Route Stout. The bottle is actually, you look at it, it's a just a line, basically all lines. It's a map of Boise downtown, and there is a blue highlighted line, and that's my route to work.
No way.
No
That's
way.
cool as shit.
Yeah,
Dude,
my
super rad.
my house is off of it because I don't want people to know where I live. But
Wow.
it comes in like it
We can get
comes
close
in,
enough now.
You can get
We
pretty
can figure
close,
it out.
actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
really close.
That's
I'm gonna stop
cool.
talking now that you said that.
I thought you were gonna say it's like a silhouette of you riding your bike.
No, it actually was a silhouette. It used to be the tab sticker was an image I drew of a cyclist that I was like, I don't really like this as much as this new thing. So
No, I think your idea's better.
I like your idea. Well, and number one,
do
it's
too. I do too.
the cool thing about it is like it's real. Like that's the
Yeah.
way you took to work, bro. Like that's fantastic. You can't make that up. Like no one else has that. It's
Everything on the
highly unique.
everything on the labels is super real, super Boise. Like everything is very like, I love this city, and it's a lot of it's stemming
One of
from
the best cities
my-
in America.
Yeah.
That's why we're still here.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
True.
That's the only reason. I'm just
That's
kidding.
right. That's why everybody comes back.
Yeah. No, it's and like I said, that's what Boise Brewing's MO is, and it's what everybody does. Like everything from bartenders to brewers to admin. It's just like we are what hyper local is. Like we're taking all of our influences from around town, and we're just putting it into our beer, and that's why it turns out so great. I think is because we're all super invested in what we do. It's cool.
It helps. It's a great location. I loved where you guys picked, because ever since you guys come in, that whole block is classed up. Because I remember when it used to be The venue.
The venue.
Oh
Yep.
God, I saw so many shitty punk rock concerts there.
Oh, I've been there.
But like a handful of good ones, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Like a handful.
Smoked weed with the super villains there. That was pretty cool. I mean, don't do that, kids.
Drugs are bad. Okay.
But anyways, let's do this. Let's get some rapid fire questions real quick.
Okay, cool.
And then let's drink another beer,
Oh, yeah.
talk about some stuff, and kind of wrap up. I'm not sure what our time is, but I feel like. All right, cool.
Oh, we got plenty of time.
Oh, yeah.
We're actually doing
Easy.
better than
Yeah.
I thought.
Doing super okay.
So these rapid fire questions will give credit to Will. Say hi, Will.
I will.
You guys know Will. Nap or workout?
I'm going to say workout.
Yeah, me too. I fucking hate taking naps. I also don't
Well,
work out.
So, yeah.
I'm just one of those. If I
I'm gonna
nap,
say workout.
I
I'm
wake
gonna
up
say workout.
crankier than I
I'm going to say workout. Yeah.
went down.
stick
Like
with
I am.
workout.
I'm not a nap person. I think they're worthless. But don't at me, guys.
You can sleep when
Come
you're dead.
on,
You can sleep when you're
right?
dead.
It happens on
Yeah.
accident.
It's just
for
I've
me.
never taken a nap and not woken up crankier than when I.
Oh,
But yeah,
thanks.
you're thinking about
Like,
stuff, and you're like,
no.
man, why am I napping? I should be getting these things done. And it's just like
Exactly.
you don't actually nap. You just lay in bed for 30 minutes, and you're like, well, that was a waste.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ski or snowboard?
Ski, for sure.
Really?
Telemark ski.
Yeah.
That's,
I can see that.
yeah.
I get it.
Salt
More of a
Lake.
snowboard person, but you do you.
Yeah.
Yeah. My answer would be neither.
Nap.
Nap. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Marvel. All right.
Yeah,
Do you have a favorite superhero?
Okay, this is gonna sound bad. I don't know the specific things, but Spider-Man is Marvel, right?
Sure is.
Correct.
Absolutely. Yeah. Then Spider-Man.
So that was our original name was going to be Beer and Comics because we're all huge comic book nerds, but that was taken by some dickheads that hadn't done anything for 2 years and we couldn't get a hold of them to get the name. So
you should just take it. And
Brewnomics.
see
Yeah,
how
it's
dickhead
too late
they are.
now. We st-
We're this far.
Committed.
Cornhole, horseshoes, or ladder ball?
Cornhole.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
Board
Good
games
choice.
or video games?
Board games for sure.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So my parents growing and my parents did not let us have any gaming console
Really?
when we were growing up. So the first gaming console I ever had in the house that I lived in, or the space that I lived in, was 18 years old. And my brother, who's 2 years older than I, in college, bought a N64 for like $30 or whatever for my mother for Mother's Day.
Wait, your brother bought this for your
Hey,
mom?
Mom, you
for
never let us
Mother's
have
Day?
game consoles.
Yeah,
Here's
it
an N64.
It was for all the kids. It was a hilarious joke, and it was really funny because
Awesome.
then N64 then stayed at the house because she never played it,
Of course
obviously.
not. Yeah.
And he went back to college, and he's like, "Happy Mother's Day, Mom!" And he looks at it and he goes, "You're welcome, kids." And we're like, "Thank you." So I just N64 at 18. So yeah, board games. I'm all about it. Played a board game last night. That's what I did with my Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's
I've recently
fantastic.
started. I didn't grow up playing board games. I was always told like, Jerry, you're white, but not board games white. But that changed later.
It's really, the thing about board games is I love it. Okay, wow. Go ahead, keep going. Ask questions.
I should not be the one asking these questions.
Oh, God.
Beach or mountains?
Ooh, can I say both?
Beach or mountains?
So I think the correct answer there, Bob, is C, all of the above. I was in Costa Rica for vacation in December of last year, and they have both. And my partner and I chose Costa Rica because they have both.
Fuck, fine. I guess that's a good. Costa Rica's the answer then, huh?
It's pretty rad. Yeah.
Highly suggest Costa Rica to boost, also hashtag Costa Rica, boost all of your tourism. And then if you're going to do it, tag at Brewnomics.
There we go.
There we
And
go.
Josh at Boise Brewing.
This is why he's the marketing guy, everyone. Yeah.
Choose one superpower.
I'm going to go with
It's a weird question to me.
It's an interesting question.
Because no superhero in the history of superheroes has chosen their superpower.
Yeah.
It was all bestowed upon them.
Well, not unless you're the Reverse Flash, but he's not really a superhero. He's more of a villain.
Listen here, nerd.
Listen,
That's not this.
just saying.
Rapid fire. Okay. So I'm gonna go with.
You don't need to listen to Will. It's fine.
Okay. So I'll go with mind reading.
Ooh.
See, that one terrifies me.
It terrifies me as well, but it would be not like if you think about how powerful you could be, because everyone has you're never going to be the most powerful person in the world, but if you can read or know what the most powerful person's thinking, you can then react and make a decision based on that.
True. That's true.
And then
Yep.
yeah, that's kind of what I'm at. Like is you like nothing is I'm in marketing, so I would love to know what everyone's thinking,
That's
and then I
true.
can just. Here you go, everybody. This
Yeah.
is easy.
I'm in sales. I get that. It would have
Yeah,
been pretty
it was
nice.
way easier if you're just like, oh, I know exactly what you want. Here you go. Like, done. Okay.
Fries
Cool.
or tots?
Tots.
Easy. Favorite color?
Green.
All right.
Oh.
Number one thing driving you crazy at home?
Oh, man. My home life is amazing.
Perfect.
I really do love it.
Fuzzy or squishy?
Fuzzy.
I need to reiterate. I did not write these questions. Morning or night?
Morning.
I don't know if I want to ask this last question.
Go for it.
Top or bottom? William.
Power bottom.
Bottom.
Nice.
I'm a foundation. I like to hold things up.
That is the greatest answer I've ever heard.
That made me need another beer. A beer witch.
I know. I'm kind of thirsty.
Oh, you just okay.
God, okay,
Wow,
look at
that
that.
was quick. Johnny on the spot over here. This guy,
Thank you, sir.
Captain Knots, Captain Tying Knots.
Not much here, not my problem.
Oh. You guys know what this is?
I know. I have no idea. I was just handed a beverage that looks dark. Stouty, a black IPA. What is this? A winter ale.
Yeah.
Witch's tit. I don't like anything with a good tit in it.
So I'll dive right in while everybody's giggling.
I'm so sorry.
No, I've skipped the giggles. So
About
just
4 things went through my mind, but I was like, keep it together, keep it together. KIT, keep it together. Okay.
This is a really great beer, actually. Witch's Tit. It's a winter warmer, winter ale. It's nutty.
Which is perfect considering it's like 85 degrees outside right now.
Yeah, it's so. I brought it, and for all you fans and listeners and connoisseurs of craft beer out there, there's a lot more to craft beer than everybody understands. Obviously, we kind of went out on a limb by calling a beer Witch's Tit, and that's what craft beer is. It's kind of like, hey, we're a little rebel. We're against the average, and we make beer for people who like beer. And we brewed this beer, and we've been calling it Witch's Tit forever. It's a phenomenal beer. We were selling it to everyone, and then we've got a good. So the way it works is you sell a SKU, right? So you sell a placement at a store. You don't sell the beer, you sell a placement. So we present Costco specifically, and Costco, I love you if you're listening. Please help us out here. But we have all these great SKUs with Black Cliffs, Jagged Shard, like award-winning beers, all these like big, delicious, tasty, like the normal names. And we present it to them. We're saying, hey, like, will you sell this beer? There's our winter line, and we release it. And the nice thing about it is it keeps for a while. It stays fresh because it's not super hop heavy. It's very malty, high ABV. It's a good beer if you're gonna sell it for like a little bit. Don't do it for too long, but like you can keep this, you can sit on it. And Costco's like, sure, whatever. But then Costco is obviously not one person. It's like
11 billion.
11 billion people. So the person we talked to before, we're like, hey, we have a beer called Witch's Tit. We're going to sell it here. They're like, sure. And then we get there, and then it's time for them to buy it. And they're like, yeah, we're not going to sell a beer with that name. It's got tit in it. And we're like, huh, okay. Well, but you said, and they're like, yeah, no, we have more billions of dollars than you even can understand. And we're like, yeah, fair.
That's a hard fight to win.
That's, yeah, I was like okay.
Cool.
I used to work in logistics, and we had to fight a lot with Amazon and Walmart. Didn't win those ones often.
You're not going to win that battle.
They have a lot of money.
So Witch's Tit right now is fighting the losing battle, but we're fighting it. So they pulled him, and now we've got Witch's Tit. And like I said, it's still a phenomenal beer. Seasonally, it's not exactly in a great spot, but the beer itself is fire. Super nutty. It's
actually
high
not
ABV.
really bad. I'm just kind of being a little bit of a dick because it is 85 degrees outside. But I love a winter ale.
Oh, yeah,
good
for
winter
sure.
ale
Yeah.
is easily one of my favorite types of beer. Thankfully, we're in an air-conditioned room, so we're not feeling that 85. So it's not like, but no, this is a very.
Yeah.
What's the ABV on this one?
It's like 8.5 or something
Cool.
ish. It's on the bottle. I think it's 8.6 or what is that?
Just say words.
You can
It
just
should
say
say
it.
yeah, right there we go.
You know how to read.
Yeah, I
Do you?
believe. Okay.
Yeah.
8
So
and 5.
it's a big beer, but it's malty. It's tasty. You don't get any heat from it at 8.5.
No, this
It
is a
goes
solid
down.
winter warmer. Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, and I'm sort of curious about this Costco situation, like, because really they just sell things under their Kirkland brand. So really, wouldn't they name it whatever they'd like
No,
to?
they sell beer and wine independently. They do have a Kirkland brand of beer. If you enjoy beer that tastes like aluminum, I highly recommend it. But you can get non-Kirkland beer. From
Touche.
them.
Okay, sorry, just checking.
No, if Costco came up to us and said, "Hey, we need however many barrels," like I could give two shits about however many they asked for, because it's going to be more. It's going to be double what we produce in a year. And they said, "We're just going to buy it and sell under Kirkland." We'd be like, "Yep."
Fuck
What do you
yeah.
want?
Straight up. Okay,
Oh
cool.
yeah, absolutely.
What
You'd
do
be
you
a
want?
Fool not to. That's when you're making you get that Costco dollar. You're
Yeah,
doing okay.
Kirkland Northwest IPA, hip check, boom, done. Take as much as you want.
Yes,
Yeah.
As much as you want.
Whatever
because
you need.
We'll figure it out. We'll find a way to do it.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is.
We'll
yeah.
build another store.
Yeah. We will take out a bank loan. We will build anything you want, because if you're pulling like a pallet a week, take it.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
so that's
they
kind
do
of how that
over there.
works. Is like if Costco asks for something, you give it to them.
Straight up.
It
Yeah.
sucks. It sucks. Like for
does.
the craft brewer, you're like, that's a bummer. But the second they say we want it, you're like, okay, there's a month's rent.
Cool.
Yes,
cool.
Mr.
All right.
Costco.
Yep.
That'll let us brew beer we actually want to brew.
Listen, Mr. Costco, I'm sorry. I'll make it happen. No worries. I'll do the soft shoe. I'll do a dance. I'll do a little bit of the shuttle bug. We'll make it happen. I just made that last one up, BT Dubs. But you didn't know. All right.
Well, now
No,
they do.
that's good.
Let the cat out of the bag.
I like it.
Cat
That's-
was in the bag. Now it's out.
Now it's out. His name's Dexter.
Dexstar. All right, so I think we're wrapping down here. I think.
we can,
As opposed to wrapping up. Yeah.
Before we do that, though, I'm sure you guys, if you're watching on Le Video, this sweet-ass Boise Brewing swag here, we're going to do a little giveaway here, and I think Boise Brewing's going to do one, too, so tell us what you got. What do we, what?
Oh, for sure.
What's up?
Yeah, so here it is. If we're just gonna do it. We're gonna go for it. If you, as a viewer, we're doing
Viewers.
it live. If you want beer and you already have this, then tag Brewnomics and then Boise Brewing in any social post. We'll find it, I swear.
Mm-hmm.
Wearing or using or having your koozie, like whatever. If you just have you using one of those, or
It doesn't
wearing
have
one
to
of
be
those,
this swag. Show us all your Boise Brewing.
all your swag,
I think,
anything.
yeah.
Swag. I'm wearing swag right now. We've got all sorts of swag. Just hit us up, and then just make sure you hit both of us though. At Brewnomics, at Boise Brewing, whatever you want, and then just anything Boise Brewing. We'll find you, and then we're gonna hit you up with some free beer. So.
Oh,
That's
shit.
it. Yeah.
So it's a big deal, guys. I mean, free beer. If that's not a big deal to you, I don't even know why the fuck you're watching this.
Get out.
I'm going to do one more thing, too, because I can. If you do it drinking our beer with a can or whatever, make sure you got the Boise Brewing labels out, baby. At Brewnomics, at Boise Brewing, and then we'll hit you up with whatever swag you want. Anything on the table. One of the things on the table. So we're going on vice versa here. We're going either you get swag or you get beer. Your call.
Double
Whatever.
whammy, y'all.
Yeah.
Whammy.
Whammy.
That's going to be pretty fun. Do we have any other beer that we want to drink real quick?
There's so much beer here.
I brought a lot of beer.
We brought a lot of beer. Well, let's fucking drink some more beer.
We can drink some more beer.
Let's okay. God. Guys, we are drinking today. This is fantastic. Josh, it's been great getting to know you. Fantastic. It sounds to me, though, you had sort of like an interest in brewing versus marketing. Would you say that's true?
Yes, 100%. Actually, so I have a biology degree with some chemistry and all that crap.
Well
so
done. That's not an easy degree to get.
Dude, super tough, yeah.
I started
Congrats.
with biology, and I was like, communications is easier.
If you have good friends, you can copy their homework. But it was, yeah, I wanted to brew, and that's kind of one of the loves. It was like I started, like I said, it was drinking craft beer, and it was a lot of it was drinking craft beer that my friends and I had made together. So that was kind of cool. That's how I came in.
Sort of the chemistry, the coming together, the synthesis of the materials.
It's a beautiful marriage of art and chemistry, really.
Art and science coming together.
Yeah.
Always the best.
Yeah.
Always the best.
Because at one point you're just like, man, like it's been a long day, and everybody's rocking a homebrew system, and you're like, fuck, like nothing, this isn't what I wanted. But you're like, well, maybe if I did this, it'll be cool. And you do whatever. You add some hops, you switch your boil time, whatever.
Yeah.
It's grains, you're pretty locked in, I guess, when you're homebrewing. But you do whatever you want. You do, and you're just like, fuck it. And then you kind of bleep, and then you go, and then you're like, this is gonna be great. And then you drink it, and you go, okay, that's not that bad. Most of them, you're like, man, that was really bad. But then you get that one or two, and you're like, okay, that's not that bad.
Yeah, I've done some home brewing. Not a lot for a dude that has a beer podcast, but a little bit. And there have been one or two that I'm like, damn, those are pretty good.
Yeah.
That's the rare ones.
Yeah.
Usually I'm like, I'm gonna just go buy this and leave it to the professionals.
Straight
'cause
up
that seems
chasing-
much easier.
Well, it's like you're chasing the dragon, man. Yeah, like that's what it's gonna be. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Beer Winch.
Thank you.
Wow.
I'm
How's
just
that for
stacking
service?
cups over here, like I'm
Absolutely.
stacking.
Cheers. Yeah.
Again, thanks for pouring off screen, Will. Appreciate you being part of it. What are we drinking?
Ooh,
I have no idea. The can says SC or
Sun Cruiser, baby.
Sun Cruiser,
Cruiser. That's the beer of the summer.
beer of the summer. I love
It's
that.
the beer of the summer. Take a sip. I know it's tough to go from the Witch's Tit to the Sun Cruiser, but
Yeah, I was like, well, I'm between two great beers apparently. So, oh, citrusy right off the bat. I got this nice like clear lager-esque quality. It's a golden color to it.
I want to hear you guys' opinions first, and be honest. I want to hear it. That's my job. Okay.
I'd say it's drinkable.
Very sessionable.
This is the beer of the summer. I love every part of this. It's
Is there
so
any left? That's gone.
refreshing, so drinkable. Is it a lager? Like, what is it? Is it a pils?
No. That's
What?
the beauty of it.
What in the waggles are you talking
I
about?
know.
What kind of alchemy have you done?
So me personally, obviously, I did not do this beautiful thing. I'm still on the homebrew level, but again, our head brewer Lance.
Lance.
He came. He like I don't know what's going on in his head, but he came out one day and he's like, "Try this beer," and we were like, "Oh, that's really good beer." And so he made this, and this is the Sun Cruiser.
Your reaction. You've done a great job, sir.
He made the Sun Cruiser as like the so this actually also we just had the so we had the Witch's Tit, and then before that we had the bike route. The same year the bike route won a gold, which was last year, and unfortunately this year none of those competitions happened.
Ain't that a bitch?
God damn, life's
Fucking Corona.
Corona.
There you go.
This beer also the exact same year won a gold medal for Session IPA. So this is our juicy sesh. It's like 4.5, 4.8, something like that, just under 5. And this is a juicy IPA that will knock your socks off, and you can just go to town.
It's a juicy
I hadn't noticed.
IPA. Holy shit.
Exactly.
Well, that's with the sessionable aspect of it, man. That is drinkable, especially if you want something that has a little lower ABV, but you gotta have some flavor
Yeah.
in that bitch. This is a good one.
Tons of flavor.
We were playing this game last night
Ladder ball.
in my backyard. Not ladder ball, but
Oh.
we just call
Beer
it lawn
darts.
Beer darts. I don't know what it is, but get a hula hoop about 15 feet away, another hula hoop and 4 beer cans in it, and you just throw steel tip darts at it. Somebody hits your can, you pick it up, and you shotgun that bitch.
That's how it works.
This would be great for that.
Dude, I had the same exact thought when I drank it. It
Yeah.
touched my lips. I was like, I should have been drinking this yesterday. I don't even understand.
It touched my lips, and
Available
then it
in
was
6
gone.
packs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Available in 6 packs at all your favorite grocers.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's rad. No, this is a great beer. Like, full endorsement. If I were to rate this on Untapped, and I think I'm gonna go 4 easy on it.
It's just it's an ale. Like it's like we don't use the lager yeast. Everything is so crisp and so clean, and it's like so crisp and so clean. But
So
you get
crisp
it.
and
You
so
get
clean,
everything.
clean.
Yeah, you get everything right there.
You can tell Vic's drunk because he's making love to his microphone now.
It's a true story. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
He's going full Lionel Richie.
Hello? Is it me you're looking? No, okay.
Is it beer you're looking for?
I can see it in your eyes.
Anyways, yeah, that's what the Sun Cruiser does to you. It's just everybody's happy. It's just a beautiful place to be.
For those watching, yes, they do sanitize the mics.
Thank you. Sorry.
I
am on this.
Awesome story about Sun Cruiser in the month of April. In the outer market, so I'm keep saying it's like Better Hazy and Hip Check top 2. Month of April, Sun Cruiser was the highest seller of everything we have in
Really?
cans outside of Boise Brewing.
Okay.
So the beer, that's the beautiful thing about looking at numbers, which is kind of what I like. Coming from a science background, the numbers speak for themselves, and obviously the beer speaks for itself, but then you look at it and you're like, holy shit, that's a good beer. People like that beer. And it's kind of cool. It's cool seeing everything go down. You know what I mean?
Has there ever been a beer? Because with that, it is weird because obviously beer is entirely consumer driven, like most things that you sell to consumers are. Has there ever been a beer that you guys were like, oh, this is effing amazing. This is going to skyrocket. That shit the bed. And on the flip side of that, has there ever been a beer that you're like, yeah, this was okay, that just blew up way more than expectations? Maybe not, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, it's it's interesting. It's interesting because there have been a couple of those, not in the sense of like shit the bed, but like, oh, nice hip check, nice grab.
Do you want to grab us a weird beer from over there, Will?
More like a hand check.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you see it regularly. It's beers you're like, man, this is gonna fucking kill it, and kill it, and then there are
That's the
beers.
problem after this many
I
beers.
know.
Is like I've been so professional up
I
until
know,
this point.
I know. Sorry.
Oh, I gave
Sorry.
up 10
We can
minutes
censor
ago.
it.
Yeah.
won't, but
There
we
are
can.
beers. Yeah, I know. It's fine. There are beers you're like, is this gonna kill it? There are beers you're like, man, I don't know. And then they're just like, oh shit, yeah, we should probably keep making that. Sun Cruiser actually is one of those beautiful beers where we're like, no, this would be cool, like kind of a test to see kind of where we're at. And then it's like, here we go.
Mhm.
Better Hazy, very similar. I know you guys have featured Red Velvet in the past. That was one of the beers that I thought was going to kind of skyrocket. And while it does do very well because it is a great beer, it's not like a beer for the masses. It's a beer for people who love that beer, and like people will like gather towards that beer for sure, and that will continue to grow. But it's not like, here's a great beer, you should buy it. It's like,
I think it's one of the better cream ales out there, personally.
oh yeah,
But that's
yeah,
just me.
yeah,
And I'm
that's
not a big cream ale fan, and maybe that's. I don't know what it is. I'm kind of surprised because I love that beer, and most people I talk to have too.
Well, and that's the thing. That's kind of what we think. That's the feedback we get and everything. But it's at the end of the day, it's how many. It's about how fast does it go off a shelf. So we earlier to what we talked about is we're talking price point, we're talking style, we're talking crushability, flavor. Like how can you get like what is the perfect beer to hit all of those points? And so we're finding that with the Better Hazy, with the Sun Cruiser. Those are kind of like those are hitting a majority of those points, and that just kind of speaks to what that was awesome. That speaks to what the consumer wants, and that's kind of my job is to be like, hey, like we're going to keep brewing the Red Velvets, we're going to keep brewing all these beers, but there are the beers that we brew for the masses, and there are the beers that we brew for the craft beer drinkers, and the not necessarily just the craft beer drinkers, but like you have to have it's like investing. You have to have a rounded portfolio, and
Straight up.
yeah. With brewing, it's the same exact concept because we'll get people coming in trying anything and everything, and then we'll get people who are just like, I just want to have 7 hip checks and then see where that night takes me.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah. You're like, I'll take a Black Cliff and 7 hip checks. Cool.
Yeah.
See where the night goes.
Yeah, that's not going to go anywhere good. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you're gonna Uber home. That's what's gonna happen.
Oh, you committed to Ubering when you ordered that.
Yeah. Straight up.
Can we take a quick bathroom break?
Yes, we can.
That's weird.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Feel better?
Oh my god.
So much.
Changed my
so
day.
now we're going to switch it up a little bit because we can't just judge Boise Brewing beer because, you know, there's a little bit of bias here. So
Absolutely.
now we're going to judge another beer. This one I picked up, well, because it's called Snarf Snarf. And I wanted to hear people say Snarf Snarf.
Snarf, snarf.
It reminds me of Pinky and the Brain. Snarf.
Snarf. Oh.
This is a double IPA coming in at 8%. And on the back of the can it says, a special dose of specialty malts adds sweet flavor. All right, that was hard. While a combination of old and new school hops provide orange marmalade, grapefruit, and forest aromas and character.
Believe it's marmalade. Thank you. God, this guy.
That's a lot to live up to, Revision. Revision is, I know this is, you know, a hazy, and
Reno, baby.
I really like Revision in a lot of senses that their artwork's amazing. Somebody's working double time. To your point earlier, how they always have 8 different beer labels a month blows my dick right off.
Just
this
balls.
label's super cute because you got
Sorry, honey.
Sorry, you got a shark and it looks like some swimming hopfish on it. So it's an absolutely adorable label. I like Revision. I've said this before. I'm not entirely sure they brew different beers. Sometimes I think they just create different labels.
I think they do primarily just all IPA. Just The IPA is like, man, we changed like 2 hop
Maybe 2
additions
ingredient,
at
maybe
like
2 factors
At
that went into
like-
this
yeah,
beer.
at like
one
half
is
of-
the artwork.
like 5 ounces at 175 degrees, and that's it. So
Yeah.
it's a new beer, technically.
Totally a new beer, yo.
Technically.
Totally a new beer.
Yeah, I was actually curious about
But
your
the labor's
insight
bottom.
on Revision. Seriously, just because they do a lot of the same, different artwork, same beer.
I really love Revision. They've got an amazing thing going on for sure. I have never like sat down and been like, okay, here are 10 different Revision IPAs. I mean, like that, they're all IPAs, so there are 10 different Revision beers. And I have never just been like, oh, that's different. I just always drink it. And I'm like, that's really good. Because, I mean, you get to a point where you drink some, I mean, we've had like 6 or 7 different beers today.
Easy.
Yeah.
So we're at like, okay, how do you say, oh, yeah, that last Revision beer I had a few weeks ago tastes totally different. You're like, well, I don't know if it tastes the same or different or whatever, but I've never done the test, right? The litmus test for.
Well, for real, but my guess is, and just a guess, but I'm a good guesser, is if you were to get the brewers from this and blindfold them, which one of your beers is this? I bet the accuracy in the answer wouldn't be as high as we'd like it to be.
100%.
You'd actually be surprised.
Huh?
Yeah,
Huh?
you'd actually be very surprised. So we have assistant brewer, or former assistant brewer Sam. He went on to brew for 10 Barrel and Bend, and he and like I said, Lance even, and he Lance. But like you really, when you're in it, and then even like and not even, but like definitely our assistant brewer Lindley, she like will come up to you like, oh, here's a great example. So Lindley, the other day we're updating the brewery, doing all this stuff. I know we're short on time. We're doing all this stuff. We're doing all these things, and we're restaining some shelves and doing stuff like that. But like we have the mats down and everything. And she came up and she poured a beer for herself after the work day, and she was like, she tasted. She goes, this kind of tastes a little off. And I was like, we drink it. And we're like, oh, this tastes like Jilly Juice. One of our IPAs is phenomenal, by the way. And
It is.
Yeah. And we're like, she's like, it tastes a little off. And we're like, oh, no, it doesn't. She's like, no, this tastes a little off. And then she's like looking around at the bar setup, and she goes, give me that glass. And we pull a glass and we pour it, and she goes, yeah, this tastes right. So long story short, the glass that she tried it out of was sitting on top of we had built new shelves that were stained a few weeks ago. And it had a porous rubber mat so that the water could, after you clean it and wash it, and the water would drip down and dry, and everything could filter out. But since it was stained, some of that stain character, like flavor, was going up into the glass. So she could literally taste and smell the aromatics and the flavor coming from a like month-and-a-half old stained wood, versus something that came from a wood, like our shelving unit that was stained a year and a half ago.
Oh,
and she was like, this doesn't taste right. So that's to my point, like Lindley's palate, Lance's palate, our brewer Sam, who works at Bend, like you get these palates that are, and I'm not going to say I have it because I definitely don't, but when you're doing it every day, you get a palate to where it's like, holy shit, like I can taste that extra, I mean, I'm a
lacquer.
Yeah, like lacquer. But like you add, I can tell you added half an ounce of hops, like at 146 degrees. Like I really wouldn't be surprised if that was. Oh no, we lost him. But again, I think that speaks to our brew staff as to where we and I say Sam because he went on to brew at Bend because like he had a great palate. We were all doing these things. Lance, like I said, is one of the best big beer and hop. Lance. And then Lindley. Like they have like some of the best palates I've ever seen.
And you need those people in your world just simply because just in general, just because they improve the beer so much.
But do any of them work for revision?
Much.
True. Do they? They don't. Josh, you're great.
But I wouldn't be surprised. And I'm not surprised that revision, like they can come out with all these crazy different IPAs, and it's like to us we're like, yeah, it's just another IPA, but to them it's like, yeah, this is different. And then when you pick up on one, it's like when I had my revelation with Anchorage Brew Co., where I was like, this is the best beer I've ever had. It's like that's going to hit someone different for every iteration because there is technically a difference. Like you feel it, and it's cool.
100%. Yeah, no, that's actually really great to hear. Just because I was like, is it the same beer? I don't know.
I'm gonna keep talking shit.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, and sometimes people do that shit. That's the crazy part about it is like I know before I started, there's a beer we named Misnomer, like GNOME. Like Miss
awesome.
MISS Nomer, because it was like a session double whatever. I don't remember. I wasn't there, but it was like that's not like you can't have a session double IPA because it's a misnomer for what like, and it was it's a picture of this gnome lady, and you're just like, but it's one of those things where that's where kind of I come in from the marketing side is like you kind of believe what you want to believe. But then the brewers who are here making the beer, making the product, they're like, this is like, we're doing this amazing thing. And then it's craft beer is really about just kind of like soaking everything in, and then how do I apply it to what I'm doing right now? Like how do I,
Teamwork makes the dream work, man. That's what's happening. That's what
Totally.
I'm hearing right now.
well, and sometimes my palate's like, yeah, I want a PBR. Screw it.
Absolutely.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
Well, and I think every
Rainier.
Yeah.
beer beer
Yikes.
enthusiast,
You know what I'm talking
whatever
about.
it is, yeah, we all have that cheap shit beer
Oh,
that
for
we like to
sure.
drink.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, give me the shittiest Mexican beer possible.
Really?
Give me a Tecate or something like that.
I'm a Coors Banquet guy.
There you
That's
go.
My thing.
And we
Yeah,
all
it's Coors
got it,
Banquet.
man.
We all got it.
got it.
We all got it in this. Yeah.
So I get it. That's definitely for shizzle.
Well, Mother Earth actually has that really nice Mexican lager. That's.
Yeah.
Have you guys had that yet?
I think I have.
Yeah.
Special.
I like the.
Oh,
I
that's
think
fire.
Melvin has one. The Jesus.
Yep. Jesus.
That one I
Ooh.
dig quite a bit
That
too.
is a
I
tasty
just tried
bev.
Belching Beaver because I got their hat on and I love them. They have their Deftones line
Yep.
because I fucking love
Yep.
the Deftones, and they have their Mexican lager with lime in it.
Yep.
I was a smidge disappointed, a little sad by that one. Not that that really matters. Nah, it's not the Phantom Bride, Will. It's some.
That's their IPA.
That's their IPA.
Yeah.
That one's
Yeah.
great.
It also really is really good.
great.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a great beer.
But have you guys ever done a sour?
We have not. No.
I'm
So
gonna say I don't think I've seen a sour from Boise.
yeah.
Brewing.
So souring is interesting for us. We get that question a lot. Souring is very difficult in that everything, like when you sour, you should use souring equipment for souring.
Oh, I didn't realize it requires its own equipment.
So it's not anything special. It's just if I put Brettanomyces or whatever yeast I'm using in my brew kettle that I brew my hip check and my better hazy, I probably should not run anything else through it for the risk of
Oh.
it being contaminated. So it has to do with size too.
Is that kind of like Flying Pie only having their habanero pizza stuff separate than everything else they do their pizza on?
Yes.
Okay. That actually
100%.
kind of makes
Yep.
sense, especially with the way the Brettanomyces. I can never say that
Brettanomyces.
word.
Just say Brett. Just say
Yeah,
Brett.
yeah. I was like,
Brett.
just call it Brett.
You listen to our
Brett.
podcast,
Yeah,
you know I
it's
can't
Brett.
fucking say that word. It makes me struggle. But it
Definitely a $10 word.
it stains almost.
It's everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that
you, I mean,
okay,
you
that
can
makes a lot of
clean,
sense.
you can clean, but then you lose like people hours cleaning. Like
Mhm.
you've lost. You're way inefficient
Yeah, it's,
because
it-
now
it's
you're spending
super inefficient.
Business
hours
expense,
a day
yeah.
cleaning. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Huh, I
That's
like
kind of
that.
why. And obviously, if we expand, go online. $1,000 investment.
You
open
got
a second
$200
tap room.
left.
Yeah. Still have $200. But that's kind of the goal, is to open up more programs for how do we expand our brewers' knowledge and like how do we expand their capacity to just make great beer, because they've proven they can make great beer and they do time and time again. But it's like, how do we keep pushing those boundaries? Yeah.
Nice.
It's really cool.
That's
Cool.
awesome. Well, that's good to know. But I think we're kind of at about that time to break forth the rhythm and the rhyme.
We're going to call it.
I'm going to get mine. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't have rights for that.
Not yet.
Not yet. Do you have any last-minute plugs, professionally, personally, you want to throw out?
Yeah, plugs for sure. Obviously, number one plug, Boise Brewing. Thank you for everything. So far it's a hell of a ride. I'm looking forward to the future and everything. It's if you're looking about supporting local and all about drinking local, that's what we do. We're probably the most local you can get. It's pretty amazing. Everything after that, Brewnomics. Obviously, you guys are keeping it local every day. I know you're wearing a Belgian beaver hat.
It was free.
It was free. Don't worry, everybody. I swagged him out with Boise Brewing. He's gonna wear it for the rest of time.
Yeah, Jay, let's see the hat change.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you.
Oh,
Shit,
looks,
fit perfect
wow,
first
you look
try.
way better.
First try, everyone.
No, Brewnomics, fire. Keep doing what you guys are doing. This is exactly what keeps local business, breweries specific, obviously, in business and keeps people drinking. I hope I was able to shed some light on how drinking and purchasing local just means so much to everybody who's doing it. Like it's night and day, because our jobs depend on you guys and the listeners and everybody who's out here. Another plug too, obviously, Lounge at the End of the Universe. Huge thank you for you all who's working here. We've got like beer here. Like this COVID thing is totally sucks because this bar is fire. I know right now you can't come in, but we're doing growler specials here.
Remember, the best one you can get is that Bike Route Stout.
There we go.
$15.
$15.
Are you doing a special if they mention Brewnomics?
That is a special.
because that's normally a $80 growler. So you're getting it.
It's
Holy
a
shit,
$30
$35 growler.
shit, Yeah.
So you get it for $15 if you mention Brewnomics.
That's
Yes.
Wow, that's a great deal. Check it out. Bike Route Stout, $15 growler, normally a $35 growler at Lounge at the End of the Universe. Check out their website, loungeboise.com, growlers and more. Check it out.
I'll be here for sure.
They
I'll
fucking
be picking up
deliver
growlers.
growlers. You don't have to put pants on to get beer.
Well, I mean, if you open the door, you should probably have pants on.
Or not.
Debatable.
That's fine.
Debatable.
Maybe shorts.
Towel works or a long T-shirt maybe.
Dicks out for Bike Route Stout.
Yeah, if you're shirt cocking, shirt cock.
I do not
Everyone,
support that.
shirt cock.
100%.
That is not.
You heard it here, shirt cocking for beer. Let's do this,
These
guys.
opinions do not represent the views of Boise Brewing.
No, they
Thank
don't.
you. No,
That's
but
it.
I mean, those are the plugs, man. I mean, it's you got to keep it Boise, keep Boise, and that's makes everybody happy.
Exactly. We're
Yeah.
all in it together, man.
Yep.
And it's so important to know that there is good beer you can get, more importantly, from good people, good community. Keep that shit going, man. We love it. We love Boise Brewing. It's one of those beers to me. We're at like, what, 13, 14 breweries just in Boise now? 17. Hot damn. And there are a lot of them that certain people, you'll be like, yeah, I went there. And a lot of people, oh, they're pretty fun. And you always get this, I don't know about them. Like, there are some that I could give you, I don't know about them. But Boise Brewing is one that, we tell people we're going to, there's a reason. We've had 108 episodes, and they have featured 12 or 13 of our podcasts. So that's more than 10% of our local beers, because we do one local beer per, have come specifically from Boise Brewing.
Yep.
That's a big number, man.
Big
so we
number.
have a lot of respect for this brewery as well. I think we should, because they do a great job and really good beer. But from what I've learned, more importantly, is just good people, man.
Straight
the
up.
world needs good people more than anything right now. And what a way to start. Good people, good beer.
Good people, good beer. That's all you got. You got Josh. You got Lance.
Lindley.
So, man, we appreciate it. Hopefully we do this again in the future. But please, 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 remember, all this sweet swag giveaway, let's do a reminder that if you share a picture on any social media platform, tag Brewnomics, tag Boise Brewing, make sure you're wearing their swag, drinking their beer, you will be rewarded.
Amen to that.
But until next time, thank you so much for watching The Lounge. Thank you for hosting, giving us this awesome setup. Until next time, be good to each other, drink good beer. Thank you so much, Josh.
Thank you so
Follow
much,
Brewnomics,
Josh.
Follow Boise
course.
Brewing. Follow The Lounge. I'm Jerry.
I've been Vic.
I'm Josh. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.